There are a lot of games this season, guys, that people are very mixed about. There's lots of games that have come out
Yes.
in the last couple months that people are all over the place. Some people gave Alien Isolation very good scores. You gave it a decent score. I think you were nice to this game, Ben. I don't know if I would give it a nice score. I have played what feels like 3 to 4 hours of the game. I haven't spent a lot of time with that alien who's on the cover, who's in the title. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to get the tracking device. A lot of things about the pacing of this game that I was not anticipating. You've already kind of made your piece with this game. You've put your review out there. Ian, you always have lots of emotional things to say about certain games.
Here's the thing with Alien. I love the Alien franchise. I love it. I love Alien. Alien is like one of my favorite movies ever. Aliens, one of the best action films ever made. Alien 3 has a lot of problems, but it's fun. Alien 4 even, not great, but fun, right?
No, Alien 4 is
It's pretty
shit.
bad. It's pretty bad. But here's the thing, like the fact that this is an Alien game is the only reason I'm even considering clicking that thumbnail again.
They get you right in the feels in the opening where you hear her, which they didn't technically need to do, because in the review you wrote like, oh, they kick it off with Ripley and she just says the same thing.
Yeah, they could have just.
Which has already been echoed in the series because it returns in 3, and you hear it like 3 or 4 times in that movie.
I do think it establishes the tone pretty well, though. Like I liked hearing.
Oh yeah,
Ripley.
definitely loved having it in. It would just been nice for her to say something else.
Right.
But it makes sense that that's in there. I'll be really simple about it. I only had 2 opportunities to play it this weekend. Both of them were at night, so I did it right. I had my headphones on, and I got tired and bored. Both times I played, I played because I knew I was going to be here with you fine gentlemen to talk about this game. I wanted to be prepared for that. That was the major impulse pulling me through this game. A lot of it felt like busy work, which it's her job, I guess. It's like it wouldn't really be fun to kind of be trapped on a spaceship and constantly dealing with locked doors. I just felt that there was more. There was not enough discovery for me. I felt that the game was reminding me of things I couldn't do or had to do, or ways I was stuck, or stuff that things that were restricting me, rather than me constantly finding new items or interacting with people.
Like, my problem with it, first of all, the cutscenes don't work. They're framey as hell.
Which I was scared to talk about because I didn't know if that was just me.
The humans look like garbage. Like, if this was not an Alien game, I would have I played Mordor for 30 minutes, deleted the information from my system, will never touch that game again because I just didn't like the combat. Like, this game, if it wasn't Alien, I would never touch it again. Like, it's horrible. Like, the fact that I'm like dicking around with these androids, there should be no other human beings on this ship. There should be nothing but the alien. The game should be 4 hours long. It should have been downloadable only. Don't put cutscenes in it if you don't have the technology to use them.
I really do want to. I feel very strongly about this. You're just kind of making like definitive statements. The way you feel about the game changes dramatically as it goes on. There are high points and there are low points, and I really think you have to get to the end to have a complete picture, because the things the game
I don't
throws
get to
at
the
you,
end of things that start shitty. I don't waste my life.
I understand that, but I'm saying like you describing exactly how it is not true, because it changes a lot. Like the way the game is in the beginning is totally different than it is in the middle, which is totally different than it is in the end.
Right.
And there is a huge pacing issue with the game, where you're going around, and I feel like the sort of quiet moments where you're just going around, opening up doors, doing things, is meant to like make you either feel safe or to build up like to the big moments where the alien or like the androids or the humans are there. But it doesn't really work, because the game makes it way too obvious when you are safe and when you are not. And you very explicitly know when the alien is not there. And so at that point, all it becomes is just you doing mini games to either hack terminals or unlock doors, and it's boring, and you spend a lot of time doing that.
Also, it's very it's very video gamey. Like, I remember when I saw the thing, I remember you, I think, had talked about it, but like the door hacking mechanism, which I think is really cool, I don't think should be there, because that's not a realistic, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't be in this universe.
I like the one that's the swing meter from Mario Golf.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
okay, no hacking thing would be this.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, this is just a video game.
They
Stop
keep
putting video
adding
game shit in it.
more mini games
Right.
as the game goes on.
And I'm like, you don't need to do that.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to establish that Amanda is an engineer and like she's
Right.
good with machinery, but that never comes through with mini games for me
No.
ever. Like
No. They established that when she picks up the hacking things and says, oh, the thing's just fried, easy fix, I need this. And then you go
Right.
get that. Then it should just be hook the thing up to the door, wait 10 seconds and look around, hope you don't get killed, and the
Right.
door opens. Like, that's
Right.
how technology works. Alien works because the world is so well structured and
Absolutely.
believable.
Absolutely.
A video game with all this video gamey bullshit on it doesn't work because it's garbage. It breaks the world.
just so we don't poop on this game the whole time that we're talking
The
about
ships are amazing. The atmosphere is perfect.
The atmosphere is
It's
bonkers.
bananas.
It's-
The sound is perfect. It's really weird that when you're in the med bay on the Torrens, it makes the sound that you hear in Deckard's apartment in Blade Runner. They're like, that sound is in this game, which is kind of crazy. It's that sound. Also, apparently, that you can find the paper mache, the origami unicorn somewhere.
Oh, wild.
There's like things hidden, but yeah. No, the game is beautiful. Like when it's not a cutscene with these horrible, awful people that look like a child made them.
There was one room where you could look at the planet that you were orbiting out of just this giant window display outside, and I definitely watched that for like 5 straight minutes.
Yeah.
You know, just the animation of the planet in orbit and
Different debris coming by the windows. Like the game looks amazing when
does.
it's the game.
even just a room. I remember there was one room that was just like couches. It kind of reminded me of the room where they go into to talk to Mother in the first movie.
Yeah.
That was this weird kind of like circular, pillowy kind of like patterns, like padded rooms and
The
stuff.
Torrens had a room like that.
Yeah, and they were just rooms I would go into. I'm like, there's got to be something I'm supposed to pick up in here, and it's like, no, just a room, just a
room.
little utility room.
Yeah.
I thought the stories were well written in the emails. I loved going through that lore. I thought that was very good. I liked that it didn't have a clear progression, like something like Doom 3. I remember like the audio logs were great, but like they built in such an obvious story tension way where like every time I went to a new area, I got like the next piece of the puzzle. Where again, if you think about the way you would explore an environment, like that doesn't make sense. Where like the emails they left behind, were left in such a way that it just perfectly illustrates the narrative as I go through it. I like that they were kind of patchy. I like that you would access computers and it's like this email's just gone, or this email doesn't work, or this is like a bad connection, or this one thing was deleted. Some files would be like audio, and I'd click on like nothing would happen, and like kind of makes sense. Like you're not going to find everything every time you go looking for it.
I totally agree with you. I really appreciated that style of storytelling because every single new area you go to, you're getting a different perspective, and it may even be going over the same thing that you learned about in another area, but it's like a different side of the story, and so it's really interesting as you go through the game as this sort of history of everything that's happened at the station slowly comes together. The one thing that disappointed me, and I think is true of the game overall, I think Aliens, right, is such a great film because it totally respects everything in Alien while simultaneously taking it in a new direction, which is why it's so incredible. What I don't like about Alien Isolation is once you finish up the story, it's straight up like a rehash of something you've heard 1,000 times. Like the beats are so familiar. It's like they throw certain things in that game that don't make a lot of sense for them to be there, but are there because they're like, oh, people are going to be disappointed if we don't have this stuff. And I think that's a little bit of a shame, and I think it contributes to the overall feeling of it needing to be tighter and needing to be more focused.
I mean, I think that to me, that's the thing that's missing from Alien, that like even Prometheus like messed up on, Damon Lindelof aside. Like, there's no discipline anymore. Like, Alien 1 was disciplined probably because they didn't have a lot of money, but also just because like the story was very tight and like realistic, And Aliens was like, we're a bunch of Marines going in to do a thing. Oh shit, everything went to hell. Let's get out of here. That's the thing, right? Like this game doesn't have any discipline. It's like, this would be fun. People will like this,
The other thing that I think is both, we had a nice conversation about Alien and Aliens today, and I think you would agree with this. Like, for as important as the alien is and the interactions between the Marines and then the crew of the Nostromo with the alien, what makes you care about that struggle in the first place is the characters. And I don't feel like there's any anchor there in Isolation. I think Amanda, I like Amanda because her reactions to things are believable, and she does sort of.
My favorite
have a
thing is when
progression.
something like explodes and she just goes, "Fuck!"
Yeah, it's
Like
it's
that's
believable.
awesome.
But
I like
all
that.
of the other
There was one time a door was locked, and she's like, "Oh, come on." You
Really?
know, and it's like,
yeah,
that's
shit like that
that's
is
exactly
awesome.
what I was
like
thinking.
that's what the game should be. Just you alone, just being like, I hate this place.
Right.
And then you get killed by an alien.
I think the
Like-
problem for me is when they introduce supporting characters, it seems like so many characters are just brought on screen to die.
Yeah.
They don't
Right.
add anything. You don't really learn
The
anything
first guy
meaningful
you meet,
about
you're
them.
like, well, this guy's gonna get
You don't
killed.
learn anything meaningful about the station. You don't learn, and they don't add anything to Amanda either.
Right.
And I think that's the thing is it just sort of felt like you were saying a video game.
Right.
Like I didn't. I don't know.
Well, that's
I
what I
have a
think.
problem with that.
That I think cinematically is one, cinematically and thematically, one thing that's really missing from Alien Isolation if they want to really try to capture that authentic alien experience. And it feels like, to a fault, that's what they tried to do here, where it's like, let's think of absolutely everything we can, how the environment looks,
Right.
how these people talk to each other, how we can actually tie it into the lore by having it be Amanda, the tools
Which
that
I
they
love.
use, the way they sound, all the little tiny little elements. One huge one for me that exists in Aliens is the crew, is actually having not just a crew, meaning there are people that work on these ship and this is the jobs that they have, but having a tight-knit group of 6 or 7 people,
Right.
which so many countless films have stolen and emulated over the years since that first film came out, including Aliens. So I felt it was missing that, kind of her like wandering into the ship and being like, I don't know anybody. So everybody that showed up felt like a red shirt from Star Trek. You're just like, okay, I'm only going to be so attached. I'm going to be attached to you because you're showing me where to go. I'm going to be attached to you because I know you're going to give me a cool item,
Right.
or I'm going to get a sweet cutscene where your head gets chopped off.
I mean,
or
like,
something.
yeah, the way they could have done this is instead of splitting off the crew right away, you go in with 4 people, there's
Right.
no one on the station, then those people die as you go, and then you're isolated. Like, it's built into all the movies, like, that's how these work.
Which makes me wonder if it would have benefited from not having the Ripley connection, and you just have a crew of 5 people. Maybe you can switch between the two of them, or switch between them, or possibly one of the questions is like, who's going to make it out of this? Like, kind of like some of the Call of Duty games where like you're playing as a soldier and you don't know, like, is the guy going to live through this level? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to be bouncing around playing these different characters. Just that camaraderie, and like you were saying, that attachment to these people. So when you see someone die, when you maybe send one guy on a mission and you're communicating with him the whole time, and then you hear him die,
Right.
and it's like,
You're
I
like,
didn't want that to
"Ah."
happen. Was that my fault? If I had gone with them, would that change? One area where I noticed that there was maybe a little give and take was the first time people start shooting at you, which was kind of surprising. And you're in this room with 2 guys and 2 men, 1 woman, and they all have guns. And you can like sneak your way out of there, or you can kill them all. I'm assuming, because I went up
Yeah.
and meleeed one guy when
killed
the other
one guy,
people
yeah.
weren't around. And then when I left that area, the 2 remaining people got in an argument about whether they should follow me or not. And I was wondering, like, what if I killed the 2 guys and left the woman alive? Would I hear her talk to herself?
In my game, she's like, the one guy was like, she went downstairs, get after her, and then the woman was like, hell no, I'm not going down there.
That's the same thing that happened
Yeah.
to me, and I wonder if I killed the woman first, if the guys would argue.
Oh, yeah,
Again,
yeah.
it's that kind of something that I want to see more. Something I'm hoping maybe PT does, or not PT, but Silent Hills. Kind of this exploration of, let me, because I get a huge uncomfortable uncanny valley effect from Isolation, which I don't get that often, where I would follow the first guy, the Scottish guy or whatever that you follow. And I would walk into a room and walk right up to him, and then he would do his little idle animation, meaning like, I'm not going to move until you start
Yeah.
going over
You
there,
have
and then
to
I'll
do
follow
this
you.
thing, yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm just pulled straight out of it.
I feel like really quick, just because we're over time, I think, but like, just so we're not completely crapping on this game, like we said, the look is really good. I think the controls are good. I like the crouching thing.
can see
where
your feet, a lot of
you hit
reflections.
L1
I
where you
love
can
being
look
able to
around.
peek, yeah.
Peeking is
Oh,
really
so
good.
The focus effect on
The focus effect is really good. I hate that you hit R1 and the motion tracker is in your left hand. It blows my mind. But like,
interesting.
survivor mode is cool. I wish they'd put other maps in the game, like you were saying. Like, that's BS. But like,
you finish it in 10 minutes.
right. And like, because that was the part of the game that I played before getting the game, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And like, also it bears mentioning that I think the part that you said is your favorite part of the game,
Right.
I don't think either of us has reached yet. So we haven't gotten to the good part of the game yet.
There's this moment where it's you versus the alien,
Right.
and you have almost nothing.
That's what the whole game
And
should be.
It's fantastic, and that's the one point that I wanted to hit on, because you basically all you can do is like, okay, I can make this noisemaker, but if I make this noisemaker, I can't make all of these other things because
Right.
they share components, and that's really, really cool because it's not that complex, but at least makes you think a little bit. And it's so easy to mess up a noisemaker throw. Either he sees you when you throw it, or it's just you have these very limited tools, and it feels like you're actually trying to survive. Later in the game, your solution to so many problems just becomes, well, I can just shoot it. I can just shoot it. And it almost feels like a different game. And I think if they had hewed closer to that beginning part, it would have been like thoroughly outstanding.
It's frustrating because like it seems like the marketing team knew what this game should have been, because they only showed us the things that we thought this game would be. And then you start playing the game, and it's 2 hours of dealing with humans and androids before you even get to anything that's interesting.
Which again is why this review season's crazy, because we're just playing games, and it's something, I know you didn't like Mordor because you're a big stinker about everything.
just don't like
but
the combat,
that game
sorry.
was a lot better than people thought it would, and this game was not as good as people thought it would. So it's interesting to play with these expectations, and we will be back to wrap it up for another Just Played when the Nostromo thing comes out.
Yeah.
I got the code for that, so I'm ready.
I can't wait to play that.
I think I might review that. I think you've reviewed too much Alien stuff, Ben. I'm cutting you off.
I reviewed one Alien.
You weren't even alive when that movie came out. You're done.
It's about survival. Do you understand? You hear something? I hear something.
Axel?
Fuck if I got on me.